Okay, so this is day 4 for our mindfulness workshop. So we call it a workshop, yeah, because as you realize, there's a lot of exercises for you to do. Some of them are a bit different. Like today, I want you to do. You'll have a question, but you see at the end, I'll explain. I want you to go through an experience and then write down um, how you felt about it. You don't have to answer me. Just tell me you've done it and maybe a summary. So before we start, we did have some questions on students wanting to look at some of the old questions, yeah? Probably bring those up. So one of them was, so I made a couple of notes just half an hour ago. Eating and sleeping are the most difficult things to do. So I guess some people weren't quite clear about it. So, but that was the idea, is for you to think about it. And is it true, eating and sleeping? Is it really hard? Usually people will say, well, that's the easiest thing to do. You just go to sleep. And eating is just put food in your mouth, and how hard can it be? But we have a lot of eating and sleeping disorders, yeah? So that's why you can see that it's not an easy thing. So this is what I really meant about how difficult it is to do. So we don't really know how to eat. If you think about it, maybe you're okay, it's fine. But generally speaking, even for myself, are you really hungry when you're eating? Or it's just a habit? It's 12 o'clock or 5 p.m. So we don't really listen to the body maybe in that sense. It becomes more of a mind plan. You already bought dinner, you know what you're going to cook, and you just eat. And then when we eat, are we rushing? Are we really eating? Or are we doing something else, like talking and watching television? And when do we stop? When the plate is empty or second plate? So those are the questions that if you've gone through it once or twice, then you carefully you'll realize that, well, yeah, actually I could maybe improve. Some things we can't help it. You go to someone's house and you eat what they give you. So that's fine. But generally speaking, is when you walk into the supermarket, is you don't look at the prices. Just feel what you look at the colors of the food and just feel what you need. Is it oranges or red beetroot or blueberries? So when I was doing my diploma for nutrition, my teacher was very good at making us spend a while just trying to feel the energy of the food and walking through the place. My first job in New Zealand second job was working in a fruit shop. So that was probably the best job I've had, really, as well. I just loved it. Just working, just touching the fruits and the vegetables every day, setting up the shop, 5 o'clock in the morning, finish at 2, and then I go to One Tree Hill and shoot for 3 or 4 hours, and then study. So, but the idea of working with fruits and vegetables was great, and I really loved it. And if you think of sleeping, we know that it's not something you do, of course. You fall asleep, ideally. When you're tired, it's quite a nice feeling, yes? We say I'm tired. It means that you want to switch off. You want to switch off, you want to go home. You want to go back into a stillness. And then you can wake up and come out again and do things. So sleeping is amazing, but we usually associate it with, again, there's a lot of problems with insomnia and, eating too late or thinking too much when you're sleeping, or you're reading a book, or you're doing something that activates your mind a lot. So in the classes, we talked about going from beta brainwaves to alpha, slow it down. So something like Shibashi is good when you finish your Qigong, help you to sleep. So you can, contemplate on that again if you want, and just look at how you eat and how you sleep. Any questions on that? I'll go to another question in a minute if you want to ask me anything. Oh, okay. Well, someone's talking there. Hold on. I'll just send a. So, Carol, you have to unmute yourself. So you'll have to go to the bottom.
Yes, I've done that.
Okay, there you go.
The connection between your physical health and your sleeping and eating seems to be very, very direct. Like if you're physically unwell, you don't feel like eating. And if you watch an animal who's sick, they won't eat either. But in sleeping is different in that even if you're unwell, your mind is sometimes very active, but both seem the same and they affect your eating or sleeping or any drive or natural sort of drive. So the other two things that probably show you most that physical and mental health are very tied together.
Yes, definitely. And I think the whole purpose of doing, the mindfulness, yoga, Tai Chi is at an early age to understand sleeping and eating and how you can improve it. Because I watch my son, he's 25, I think, and he's, he doesn't sleep very well. So then you try to ask him, okay, what are you doing? I know what he's doing. He just computers all night, playing games. But, his excuse is, no, I just can't sleep, so I play games.
Right.
So he's looking at that way instead. So it's not, you got to lie down and learn to sleep. And so I'm trying to talk to him, but it doesn't make sense. He's just, the moment, he listens to me, but now he's got to digest some of the discussions we have. But if you just carry on, yes, I remember my dad when he was 90, he just didn't sleep at all. When I was taking care of him for the last hour, he would just call me at midnight and then 12:30, then 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3. Every hour he would be calling me to come to his room, and he said, oh, tomorrow we need to do this. So he'll ask me some silly question or say something, or we need to paint the bathroom. He'll just call me at 2 a.m. to tell me that. So he just doesn't sleep at all. So it is a disorder. We can actually learn to listen to that feeling and switch off. Unfortunately,
I was going to say, is it a generational thing? Like your son's got all this new technology at hand, which you didn't have. So, I mean, in the olden days when they didn't have electricity, they would have worked and then slept a few hours and then light the candles and get up and have supper or do whatever they did at midnight and then go back to sleep for another 4 hours. So the night was divided up so completely different to what we do with our bodies now. And yes, I've got grandchildren who come and stay and they're supposed to give me their devices, as their mother tells me, before they go to bed. But I've got a sneaky suspicion, I keep forgetting to get them, that they're looking at them under the blankets. And I'm in bed trying to get to sleep, so I don't worry about it. But
yes, it's true. I mean, the technology and the nervous system has to keep up with what's going on and with the changes.
Yeah.
So we need to learn how to do that. But yeah, everybody, each one of us can have a look at the way we eat and sleep and see if we can improve on that. I'll go to just one more question. The final question is for today that I'll read you is, do questions really exist? So that's another one that came up in some of the comments, some of you writing back. So do questions really exist? Well, I don't know if you remember, there was everybody probably should remember the TV series Kung Fu with David Carradine. And there was a part in the program where they were quoting, some of the ancient philosophy, and they said, if a tree falls in the forest and there's no one there to hear it, does it make a sound? So you remember that? So, so it doesn't make any sound because you need an ear to receive the tree sounds. So this idea of the questions really exist. Well, is there a person behind this asking the question? If there isn't a person asking the question, then there is no question, right? I know it's silly, but let's look at that at first. So the problem is, okay, so the question exists, and it's good to ask questions. But next week, we're going to focus on that. Is what we're trying to do is get to a point where there are no more questions. So it's a journey, of course, where now we're talking about discovery for yourself, yes? So there are questions. If you're going to study something, of course, there are questions. You want to learn how to, make something or study a language, then you have to talk to the teacher. You have all these questions. So learning something like that is different. I'm just talking about the discovery of the self. There are questions, which really the questions are coming from the mind. And then eventually when you see yourself, there are no more questions in that sense. So we'll cover that next week. So do questions exist? That was the second one I just wanted to bring up quickly. Do you have any questions on that? If you have any other questions that you found was confusing, please, I know you probably made a note. You can ask me now. I mean, carry on with that question, but I just want to hear if anybody has some other questions I can talk about next week.
Bruno, I found the question about do I have to question all my thoughts? That one confusing, and I didn't know where to start. Oh, I thought about it somewhat, but I didn't understand that one.
Yes, the idea is that a lot of different philosophies will tell you not to take your thoughts seriously. It's just a thought. Yeah, so I think we talked about that. So we talked about the sky, and in the sky you see the objects passing by. So you are space, you're the sky, and in that space, a thought will come up. You can't stop thoughts; it's natural. So you'll have a thought. So when you have a thought, ideally you just want to look at the thought. Now another way of putting it is, instead of looking at your thought, is to question your thought. I mean, the question really means like, if you say I'm a loser, you got to question, well, is that true or not? Is it really true? Or is it just a thought? And how can you prove that? It doesn't make any sense. Then you start to realize that the thought is actually not real. And the thought was just a conditioning. So you start to question. So that's what I meant, like you start to question all your thoughts. But there was another one that I gave you, I think, which is, can thought be aware of itself? So that is the same. If you look at your thoughts now, and you ask yourself when you're quiet, can thought be aware of itself? You will see that no, there is for now we're talking this way. There is a thought, and then there is awareness of the thought. If I say, okay, I wonder what Bruno's going to think about next, I'm not going to think about anything because I'm actually now pure awareness, just watching my mind. And as I'm watching, you can't do both. It's one or the other. So awareness is present, there is no thought. Then the awareness goes, you have a thought. And you're just playing the game of awareness and thinking. I mean, why do we have questions, for example, also? You're searching for answers, you would say. Yeah, I have a question because I'm searching for answers. So it sounds right. But really, if you're going to talk to to an intellectual professor or person, and you ask a question, he's going to answer and give you another 100 questions. That answer is going to give you is going to create another 1,000 questions. So it's never ending. You're always going to have these questions. And when you look at actually Zen, in the Zen philosophy, a good Zen master, if you're asking the Zen master a question, he's not trying to answer the question. He's trying to get rid of the question. So that's important to realize the difference. So the Zen master doesn't answer the question. You go to universities for that. If you study meditation, then it's kind of different. So you're not trying to put an answer in its place. Yeah. So you ask a question, and I want to put an answer there. What you want to do is you want to feel questionless, we say. So that is the answer. So if I ask you, what are you thinking about right now? If you feel calm and you feel still and there's a peace and you feel empty, that is the answer to any question. That's what you're actually looking for. So a state of no question is the answer, really. So you would have noticed that sometimes with the questions that I ask you, yeah, you just go into that state of just being present. It may not last long, and then your mind comes in and starts to answer. And when I asked you as well, what is the problem right now? There is no problem, even if you're in a hospital. The moment that you're looking at the question, you're looking at yourself, you're in a state of calmness, and there is no answer to that. But if you go into your head, well, then you start to think about all your problems because you're going into your story. Yeah. So that is what people do mostly. You go into your head and you go into your past and you go into your future and you go into a story. So if I was doing my job properly, it would be the same. I'm just trying to trigger you to go into a deeper dimension of being where there are really no questions. So if you finish now, for example, you just go up and you go to the kitchen. And there will be a really weird for you, maybe if it's a beginner, a weird feeling of suddenly being really present, 100% with what you're doing. You pick up a pen and it's like, whoa, I've never done this before. It's like the first time you're picking up a pen. You get these kind of experiences. Yeah, you're totally involved in what you're doing. So that is the state of Zen that we're trying to achieve. And Tai Chi is to take you to the point, which could be maybe an easy way, which is doing movement, because sitting down meditating is very hard, as we said, for the West. So when you're doing Tai Chi, if you keep on coming back to Tai Chi, is because you probably already recognize what I'm saying. Yes, you know that there is a state where your mind is actually gone. But for those people that have a lot of questions, that's fine. Then we keep on philosophizing until you don't have any more questions. We talked about the present moment. You cannot improve on the present moment. So you can't improve on it just by thinking about something. How are you going to improve on the present moment? If you start to think about something, you've gone into the past. You're just remembering something. If you're not happy, you start to dream about the future. You want something better than this. This is boring, present moment. So we're always trying to run away from the present moment. So this leads into something new I wanted to talk about today. And we've got 10 minutes, so use it. And we talk about relationships. I was trying to think that this afternoon, there was a movie I saw. It was a black and white, a long time ago. I think it was Charles Chaplin. As I was in Brazil, probably 15 years old or something. And in the movie, the silent movie, you had subtitles and things, and he was in jail, and the priest came to talk to him, and the priest said, "I'm coming here to help you make peace with God." And he said, "I don't have a problem with God. I have a problem with people." So really, it's if you think about it, we all have problems with people. It's not God, really. So we think about relationships, and this where all the dramas happen, and that's how we learn, of course. So the more we get involved with people, the better. So for a monk who really wants to learn a lot about this, to be in a monastery isolated is not the best thing. So my Zen teacher said to me, if you really want to learn about yourself, then don't go near any kind of monastery or up the mountains and isolate yourself. You need to be in the middle of chaos. And that's where he lived. He lived in the middle of Buenos Aires in Argentina. And then I met one in Sao Paulo, one of the biggest cities in the world. So there's where you're going to really learn. So we're looking at the relationships. Today I want to talk about something different. I want you to look at something we never really do. Is the relationship we have with objects. Because we're relating with objects all the time. You pick them up, like a pen, or you sit on them, the chair, you put them on. So we're using objects. You're walking on your carpet. So that kind of relationship with the objects, we don't really think about much. And I just wanted you to spend maybe this week looking at that, and then one of the answers or homework is for you to write and tell me about it. So what I'm asking you is, how is your relationship with your pen? The pen you're using right now, there is one there. So just think about it. I mean, you write it down and just think about objects like the pen, plates, yeah, when you have your lunch, dinner, the relationship, if you really paid attention to it. Your car, if you have a car, do you wash it? How often? What kind of energy are you putting into the car when you're washing it or washing the windows? One of the questions was, is there any love in what you do? So that's the idea. You're cleaning the house, windows, and Is there any love in what you're doing? When you put your shoes on, yeah, or the shoes, do you wash your shoes? Do you clean them? Or you say, no, that's not necessary? So if you can spend a few minutes, every day, just thinking about the objects that you're touching, things that you're putting away. And there is I won't say a love, but there's a loving relationship with the things you are using and doing. So if you stay open to that, you will start to feel something. Yeah. It's just a matter of being open to this kind of experience, and then see how many things come to mind for the first time, like maybe your light switch when you go into the kitchen or something. Have you really looked at it? Have you cleaned it? Or usually you find a lot of people, I used to know some people, they would complain all the time. They would say they're always breaking something or losing something. And so I was thinking, your relationship with your objects are not very good. Somehow they will always be breaking things by accident. They'll break whatever they touch, they break, or they're trying to put a battery in a camera and they put it in the wrong way and they're forcing it in. And so all these kind of things is, how do we relate to the objects? So that is, so homework, that would be number one, is to write down your relationship with the objects. I'm going to give you another question for you to answer. We all have a different concept of God, yes? So we use the word God, whatever that means to you. So the question is, if you had 2 minutes, if suddenly God showed up and you had 2 minutes and you could ask him a question, what would you ask him? So remember, he shows up, you got 2 minutes to ask him a question. You're not going to ask him, are you real? Because you blew the question, right? He's right there in front of you talking to you. So, but whatever comes to mind, of course. So I'll let you do that. And there's a third question, only one more. The third question is, where can you find love? Yeah, where is love? We talk about that we want to experience more love, or we're looking for love, or whatever it is. So where is it? Is it in the past, present, or future? Is it everywhere, maybe? But don't answer with your head. Yeah. So you need to answer like 2 days later or something. You just have to, because your mind may come up with an answer. And then okay, maybe it's just leave it there. Don't write it. Just write it down. But then tomorrow you got a deeper answer, and you got a deeper one. So where can you find it? All right, that's it for now. So the main thing again with mindfulness is to try to reach a deeper dimension in you. To do that, it means that your mind has to kind of go a little bit, you have to dissolve your thinking process. We know that judgment and reactivity, gives power to the mind, to the thinking. Try to, if you have a question, try to replace it with an observation instead of a mental commentary. Just observe. All right, so we got probably 2 minutes. I'm just going to leave it open now so we can It's a small group, I think, so there's only 10 of us. So if you have any questions, please ask. Anything related to the mind. What about one each can ask me a question?
Why have you turned your mug around?
Oh, because I'm holding it like this at the moment.
Is this again a test of our attention?
Just another question.
Oh, sorry. I'm only allowed one. Okay.
Carol, yep, you'll have to unmute. Hold on, I'll do it for you. There you go. Sorry, I can't hear you, Carol.
Happened there.
Still can't hear. All right. Anybody else? Nobody else. Okay. You enjoying the
Speechless.
questions?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay.
It might take time though, Bruno, to have an answer for some of these. Like they're very good questions. It's just what you said, maybe things don't come straight away because it's trying to think as opposed to just look at what you've asked us.
Yes, I mean, ideally would be I ask you a question and you don't answer at all because you go within and that's it. You know, that's the idea. You know how to go in, so no one can trick you by asking a question. The same thing in archery. You know, you will be standing on the line at the nationals and an archer will come up and ask a question. He's trying to get you into the thinking so you get out of the flow. You know, those are the tricks that all the athletes, you know, do. Same in Tahiti over there, you know, the people will ask a question like, how do you, when you do your archery, do you push or pull? What is, you know, is it 50-50? You know, and they're asking you, and just when I'm going to stand up and shoot an arrow because he's trying to really disturb my, you know, my flow. So those kind of things, instead of getting angry, then it means that he has won. Yeah. So anything that people say just makes you go deeper into meditation. If someone really upsets you, or like we said, cuts you off, that should make you. That's like your teacher. You should go deeper into meditation. You break a cup in the kitchen, you notice that there is a reactivity is coming through, which is the ego. It's trying to make a comment and make a big deal out of it. And then you watch it, and then it drops. So you're always in your center, and you don't go out of it by reacting or judging that moment. You just let it be, you watch it. So that's the skill. So yeah, so the idea is that you can answer now, but you start to understand the game. It's really, you don't let the mind control anymore. All right. I'll just mute everybody so I can say a couple of things. So, yeah, so thank you so much. If you can't participate in these live, I'm still going to record them for you. But ideally is for you to be present so you can ask these questions, yeah? We're going to carry on until the end of the year, I think, if you want to. Although I'm not sure, as I mentioned, maybe next year I won't be talking anymore. So that could happen. So I may as well use this time now till Christmas and enjoy this. And we'll carry on regardless of what levels we are in. We can still do this Friday class, and it's only half an hour. Yeah.
Sorry, Bruno, can I just interrupt you?
Yeah.
Did I just hear you say that you're... Sorry?
You only got seconds to go. It's going to cut off, but
yeah. Did you say you're going to stop talking from the beginning of next year? Or when next year?
Yeah, probably.
The vowel sounds. Oh,
yeah.
God, okay.
I'm not sure, but I'll let you know when I really know, yes. We'll see you later for Tai Chi.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
Thanks, Bruno.
See you all.
Bye.